Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, March 6, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak month of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamp that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what did that be like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days. Also keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. As we head into Friday morning, what do we see? Maybe some isolated showers across the northeastern portion of the island in the early morning on Friday. Then on Friday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, southern, and western parishes on the Euro. Let us match it to the latest GFS. Let's see if we have consensus. Alright, so 12Z 7 a.m. and we see that rainfall to the north of us, not on land yet, but to the north of us on Friday morning. Then Friday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting. Let's see what the Euro is showing for Saturday morning. What do we see? Maybe some isolated showers across the waters to the northeast and the west of us. Then by Saturday afternoon, we see that rainfall maybe across sections of some central and western parishes. Let us match that latest Euro to the latest GFS. Saturday morning, see some rainfall to the west of us, see some rainfall across the far eastern end of the island. Then by Saturday afternoon, not much of anything, just some dots of greens that represent some isolated showers across mainly the northwestern end. Sunday morning, what do we see? We see some rain showers across the waters to the south and to the northeast of us. Then by Sunday afternoon, we see some isolated showers more so across western parishes. Let us match that to the latest GFS. Sunday morning, rainfall to the west of us. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across western parishes. So we have some consensus with that. Heading into Monday morning, we see some rainfall across the waters to our north of us, for sure, especially to our northeast. And then by Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the western end. We also see the abundance of moisture associated with that frontal system extending from the waters to the east of, well, I believe that's Georgia, and to the northeast of Florida, extending all the way down to northern Bahamas, western Cuba, into portion of Central America, including Belize, sections of Guatemala and Honduras right there. Let us see what the latest GFS is showing for the same time period. Monday morning, not seeing much of anything in the morning, but Monday afternoon, definitely not even seeing anything else, but we see the moisture associated with that frontal system. Could be a cold front, who knows, maybe we might just get some rainfall, if not some cool temperatures out of it, and we get into the start of the work week. Let us see what the latest Euro is showing for Tuesday morning. We see some moisture associated with the frontal system, definitely moving south and east to be closer to eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas by Tuesday morning, west of Jamaica, right here across the Cayman Islands. Don't see anything across Jamaica as yet, but we do see that moisture into portions of Honduras. Then by Tuesday afternoon, look at that, we see rainfall across sections of some central and eastern parishes. Let us match it to the latest GFS. Let's see if we have the consensus. First of all, Tuesday morning, we see some isolated showers across the waters to our north. Then by Tuesday afternoon now, we see that rainfall more so across western parishes and maybe section of some central parishes. A bit different from what the Euro was showing. Let's see what's going to be taking place on Wednesday morning. We see the moisture associated with the frontal system extending from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to Hispaniola. The waters to the east of us, the waters to the south and southwest of us. Then by Wednesday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across section of the island, nothing too significant. Let us match it with the latest GFS. Rainfall to our north, rainfall to our southwest. Wednesday afternoon shows rainfall across eastern, central and western parishes. Then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for 12Z on Thursday, March 13th at 7 a.m. And we see some moisture to the southeast of us. Let us match that to the latest the latest GFS. Same time period, 7 a.m. on Thursday. Show some moisture to our west, to our north, and to our east right there. But we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. We still see an abundance of moisture to the north of us. So we have some consensus, we have some differences. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast month from both the Euro and the GFS models, showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Thursday, March 13. We can clearly see that the most rainfall is going to be where we have these reds, burgundies, purples into the pinks that we can see from the key on the right. All of this represents anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall and 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And we're referring to areas such as Honduras, maybe southeastern Belize, sections of eastern Panama, sections of Colombia, western Venezuela, southern Venezuela. We also see an abundance of moisture expected for section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. And if we match this latest Euro total accumulated precipitation to the latest GFS, we see the consensus. So these areas across sections of northern South America are going to be receiving the most rainfall. So too this area across northern Honduras. While those areas shaded in greens, yellows, oranges, and the slight reds should be getting anywhere from 0.2 of an inch of rainfall up to 1 inch of rainfall. And we're referring to areas such as Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, section of eastern and western Cuba, section of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, section of the southern Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS supercomputer model runs are in agreement with that forecast. I know that when they show the same thing, the chances are higher for it to actually happen. But let us switch gears and focus our attention on Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation over the next 7 days. Clearly we see all of the blues that represents anywhere from 1 millimeter all the way to 15 millimeters of rainfall. But we also see some greens in there that represent anywhere from 50 all the way up to 32 millimeters of rainfall, as we see here across southeastern St. Mary. We see that number there according to the Euro. The GFS going all the way up into the 31 millimeter range, but it's more so to the north of St. Anne there. That's showing that either way we see the blues, we see the greens across portion of the island. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and whatever takes place, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see broken orange lines right here associated with a trough extending down into a portion of the Bahamas. This blue spike line right here associated with a cold front extending all the way from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the southern Bahamas, Cuba, the Cayman Islands. Another trough right here to the south of the Dominican Republic. Another frontal system right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic. And a ridge of high pressure right here that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. First of all, we can make out the clouds associated with the possible trough to the south of Hispaniola. We can make out the clouds associated with the other trough somewhere in here, affecting the Bahamas, and the clouds associated with the frontal system right in here, extending down into portions of the northwestern Caribbean and Cuba, as well as the southern Bahamas. And we can see the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, March 6, 2025. It was stated that rainfall was in the forecast of parts of northern Jamaica on Thursday morning, also affecting sections of some southern parishes during Thursday afternoon. And we know northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. But southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And although no post was made in the morning, I was up early and I saw the Cuban Doppler radar imagery showing some amount of light to moderate rainfall affecting sections of some northern parishes. Not all, just some. Nothing too significant, and we definitely got that early morning rainfall across some northern parishes for sure, even although no post was made. And then by afternoon we started to get in on the activity across some southern parishes, just as predicted. And this post here confirms it. This post that was made here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica. And keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're made on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as you make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the post that was made at around 3:41 p.m. highlighting some clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to sections of mainly southern parishes. So anywhere from St. Elizabeth eastward, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, maybe Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas got in on some of the action too. I live in St. Thomas. I definitely got in on some of the action. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, we can make out the flow. Look at the low level flow coming in from the north or the northwest, and then all of the air piling up across sections of some southern parishes, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to those very areas that we mentioned: St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Definitely got in on some of the action today. A very unusual pattern, a northwesterly or northwesterly kind of flow. We usually get more of an easterly flow, and then everything is exiting the western end and pushing off to the west. We like this kind of flow. No complaints here. I'm sure that everybody who got rainfall today, very much grateful. And we even have some convection within there. We see something happening somewhere across Manchester and St. Elizabeth. We see the high cloud tops in the blues and the slight greens being sheared off towards the southeast before all was said and done. And I assume that we're still getting on some isolated shores, maybe across sections of some southwestern areas, maybe southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester as we speak. And if we take a look at See Jamaica's YouTube channel here, highlighting what was taking place across the corporate area, this is Crossroads in St. Andrew. Definitely sunny at that time. Hills of St. Andrew definitely cloudy. See those dark clouds, see the shadow that they cast as well. People walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place today across the corporate area. And the accumulated precipitation map kind of confirms what took place in terms of the rainfall. Maybe across northern Jamaica in the morning, then across sections of some southern parishes during the afternoon. And we have some comments here from some of our followers confirming what the weather was like in their area. Donna Richards, getting raining here where I am in Manchester. Novelet Imgrams, getting it's raining where I am in Manchester. And even on our Instagram page, we had God's Gift _ Michelle, getting rainy Mandeville. Thank you guys for confirming. I can confirm that I got some of that rainfall too in my section of St. Thomas. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nurse website. The latest still image is showing 0015 UTC, which is actually 7:15 p.m. So this just came out 14 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:29 p.m. right now. And just as we stated, we still have some milky whitish shades that represent some low to mid-level clouds still off towards southwest, some of it right here to the south of Kingston, to the south of St. Thomas. So who knows, maybe we have some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers still taking place across maybe sections of southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester as we speak, maybe southern Clarendon too. And the Cuban Doppler radar imagery should confirm what we're seeing. If it's going to be showing the very latest, it was showing the latest, which was 5:20 p.m. at that time, and we saw some greens into the yellows that we know represent some moderate to heavy rainfall, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be updating and going past 5:20, but we can actually make out the rainfall that section of some southern parishes. It got section of Manchester, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, section of Western St. Thomas, got even Eastern St. Andrew gotten some of the action too. And the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery not showing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica or western Haiti, but we do see some isolated shores near Guantanamo, across eastern Cuba right here too. Taking a look at the Cayman radar, not seeing anything across southern Cuba, western Jamaica or the Cayman Islands. But if we take a look at the live camera right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the flat bridge in St. Catherine, we can see that at around 7:31 p.m. nothing significant to see here. People driving about, going about their business. Definitely fair weather being experienced there. Dry conditions. Rio Cobra definitely chilling for the time being. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Alright, taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some slight orange colors that we can see here from the key on the right. That represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperature for the month of March across Jamaica is around 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.7 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30.7 to 31.7 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page to highlight. I know that we have to highlight these outages because it can definitely make the heat feel even worse when we don't have power, because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Friday, March 7, 2025. And we're referring to section of West Harbour View, Real Avenue, Dorado, Sargasso, and the environs, as well as entire East Harbour View, St. Benedict Heights, 7 Miles Shooters Hill, in the parish of St. Andrew from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunnyside Rose Hall Housing Scheme in St. Catherine from 8:15 a.m. to 5 p.m. Berwick Avenue in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Marley Acres in St. Catherine from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nightingale Housing Scheme in St. Catherine from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Stanton Housing Scheme in St. Thomas from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Walker's Hill and Roads leading off in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Roseneath Avenue in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mount Salos in St. Andrew from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And finally, an abundance of areas in Manchester from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're talking about Land Settlement, Russell, Royal Flat, New Hall, Greyground, Hearties, Clifton Gardens, Clifton Heights, Three Chains, Hanbury Road, Bonito Crescent, Great House Drive, Grace Hill, and Caledonia Meadows. Either way, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh. Try eating cold food such as salads and fruit. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated. Drink lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. And put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry area map, we know that the dry area is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. And we can see an abundance of dry area across the entire Atlantic basin. We know the dry area is responsible for putting a cap on the entire Atlantic, making it very stable and hard for it to rain, hard for us to get storms this time of year in general. And we can see the reason for that. A lot of dry air. Look at all of the oranges across the main development region, the Gulf right here as well. But we see the low end of the scale in terms of dry air across a portion of the Caribbean. We see a mixture of blues and yellows that represent the low end of the scale in terms of dry air right here on the key on the bottom. We also see a lot of moisture across the eastern Pacific, as well as the intertropical convergence. So it makes sense that those areas would have the most rainfall or the most moisture, as we can see according to the key. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, still not seeing anything for 2 p.m. on Friday. All the browns represent the Saharan dust. Still across portion of the central main development region. Nothing significant either to see. We don't see those dark shades of browns that we know represent that vigorous plume of Saharan dust that can cause very hazy skies. Not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some person. We're seeing the low end of the scale in terms of Saharan dust. And it's all the way over here, making it all clear for North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Northern South America, and Central America right here for 2 p.m. on Friday. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we still see the light shades of blues to dark shades of blues across the entire basin from the Gulf into the Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 0.5 of a meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. The waters to the north of Jamaica up to 0.9 of a meter wave height expected, 0.6 of a meter wave height expected in some areas to the south. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly more dull greens, and we see the flow of the wind as well across the Greater Antilles, more so from the northeast, across the Eastern Caribbean or the Lesser Antilles from the east to the west, in the Southwestern Caribbean more from northeast to southwesterly flow, Western Caribbean east to west, and then curving in the Gulf from south to north. That's the kind of flow that we see. And if we take a look at the Jamaica's wind forecast, we see the north coast tomorrow up to 13 knots, maybe from the east or east northeast. South coast 15 knots right there from the east or the east northeast. And we also see where the air is going to be piling up. That's where we're going to be having the least amount of winds across sections of some central and western parishes. So that's where we could have that air piling up for us to get in on some daytime heating rainfall for sure. And with the upper level wind still coming in from the west northwest, we could get something similar to what happened today. We had that convection. Do you remember how we had those clouds being steered off, those upper level clouds being steered off to the east southeast, and we had the convection burst? We could get on more of that if we get some real convection on a Friday. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing 6 a.m. on Friday, and we can see the blues represent rainfall across northeastern waters, right there to the north of St. Ann, to the north of St. Mary, to the north of Portland. We see it closer to land on the Euro for 6 a.m. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We'll be in for some amount of morning rainfall. Only time will tell, so stay tuned. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Then, by about 3 p.m. on Friday, this is where we start to see the rainfall extending across not only western Jamaica, but central Jamaica, and even maybe sections of some eastern parishes. We see that both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant about that. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. And we also see that both the accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing something similar. There's going to be rainfall somewhere in Jamaica tomorrow. The Euro going up to at least 0.22 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 0.15 of an inch of rainfall. Whatever happens, we'll take it. We're in the month of March, and in March we usually receive the least amount of rainfall for the entire year. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 10 millimeters of rainfall for the month of March. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.2 inches of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of March or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and that website to show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the calculations yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Western Hemisphere. We can clearly see the line of clouds associated with that frontal system moving through the Bahamas, pushing from west to east. Section of eastern Cuba getting on some of the action too. So too section of the Cayman Islands, as well as the Western Caribbean, Yucatan Peninsula, Belize. We also see some thunderstorm activity lashing a portion of Colombia, southern Venezuela, section of Suriname and French Guiana getting on their fair share of rainfall. And we see clouds associated with a possible trough, bring some isolated shores sections up the Leeward Islands, including Puerto Rico and the British Virgin Islands as we speak. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images over there, we can confirm what we just saw. Some isolated shores affecting section of the British Virgin Islands and waters to the south of there. Some isolated shores across northwestern Puerto Rico as we speak. And loading these images from earlier today, we can see that flow of the shores from south to north across section of the British Virgin Islands, across section of western Puerto Rico, the waters to the south of Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands getting on the brunt of the rainfall as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we see a line of showers to the west of Barbados pushing towards St. Lucia. Well, not St. Lucia, but St. Vincent right there. We see it pushing towards St. Vincent. We see some isolated shores to the east of Martinique, pushing from east to west as well. Not seeing much of anything near Trinidad and Tobago. But if we take a look at what we've uploaded our images, we can see some isolated shores across section of Colombia, section of northwestern Venezuela, section of northern Guatemala and Belize. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall within the next 24 hours should be plaguing portions of Colombia right here, shaded in the oranges and reds, up to an inch of rainfall expected. So too section of western Venezuela, southern Venezuela, eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana. Clearly both maps are showing the same thing. We also see some isolated shores in store for sections of Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, maybe US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, section of eastern Cuba, Jamaica, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, eastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.